Good morning, it's Friday. I'm back home in Islington Town Hall, addressing a women's conference here, then doing a big advice bureau this afternoon, back in my borough, because that's also my job, to represent the people of North Islington. It's been a very busy week. I managed to raise the issue of human rights in Saudi Arabia during my conference speech, and also the good news is this week the government has cancelled the prison contract with Saudi Arabia, but there's still huge concerns over Mohammed Al-Namar and Carl Andre, who is facing 350 lashes. We have to be strong on human rights, not just in Saudi Arabia, but all over the world, and that I'm going to continue to do. This week we also had Prime Minister's Question Time. I raised the issue of cuts in tax credits to the poorest and most vulnerable people in this country. The Prime Minister seemed unaware that a single parent would lose £1,800 next year. And on Question Time last night, other parents brought this issue up. It's got to be stopped. We're opposing it just as much as we're opposing the government's whole economic austerity agenda, which is hitting the poorest and most vulnerable in this country, while the richest get huge tax relief through the cuts in inheritance tax. Things have got to change, and we're going to do our best to make sure that they do change. I also went to Bristol yesterday, campaigning with our wonderful candidate for the mayor, Marvin Rees. We did a big voter registration rally, which was oversubscribed after only a few hours of emails being sent out inviting people to come to it. And then I went to an event, a community event, where I met the legendary Paul Stevenson, who led the boycott of the Bristol Bus Company in the 1960s, when they had a whites-only policy for the employment of drivers. It seems unthinkable now that that kind of thing would ever happen, but it did in Britain. It was people like Paul and many others who marched and demonstrated with him to end that awful policy, but also helped to bring about the Race Relations Act. And on that, those kind of campaigns, our rights, our justice, our equality, our human rights have been built. We will always defend those.